You are standing on the 34th floor of a building that doesn't exist yet. The wind cuts through your jacket, the city stretches in every direction, and somewhere down there, a younger version of you is eating a $12 sandwich at a desk buried in spreadsheets, wondering if any of this ever becomes real. It took 14 years to get here, not because you weren't smart, not because you didn't grind, because nobody told you what this path actually costs, level by level, decision by decision, and what you quietly hand over and never get back. Let's go back to the beginning. Level 1, the Analyst. You are 22, $62,000. Your name is on nothing. It is 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. The office smells like recycled air and someone's cold Thai food. The motion sensor lights have clicked off twice because you haven't moved. You are rebuilding a pro forma for a 186-unit deal in Austin for the fourth time tonight because Marcus, the senior associate, keeps shifting the rent growth assumption. 3.2%, then 3.5%, then back to 3.1%. You don't ask why, you just rebuild it. Here's what nobody tells you on day one. Your job is not to find good deals. Your job is to kill bad ones, fast and cleanly, before the firm bleeds another dollar chasing them. You will underwrite 60 deals this year. 4 move forward, 1 gets built. And when it gets announced at the all-hands meeting, your name will not be mentioned. That is not an oversight. That is the system. Then, one Wednesday morning, Marcus drops a new file on your desk. 240 units, downtown Phoenix, land asking $18.2 million. Make it work, he says. He doesn't sit down. You run it 3 ways. Every version says the same thing. The land is $4 million overpriced. You send the memo at 6:43 a.m. By 11, the firm passes. Marcus stops by. Good work on Phoenix. Drops another file. Nashville, same timeline. Already walking away. You open it. The asking price is even higher. And right there, in that exact moment, something shifts. Not excitement, something quieter and colder. You're beginning to understand how deals think. You think you're learning real estate. You're not. You won't understand what you're actually learning until you're 36 years old, sitting in a parking garage, rereading a waterfall structure for the first time. Keep that image. You'll need it. Level 2, the Associate. You are 26, $94,000. You are now in the room. The Nashville deal died, not because your numbers were wrong, because a land use attorney found a 12-foot utility easement cutting straight through the proposed parking structure. 3 months of work, erased in 1 phone call. That's your first real lesson. You carry it into every room at level 2. You've just been handed your first live entitlement, a 312-unit mixed use in Denver that the city has been trying to rezone for 6 years. Across the table, an attorney at $680 an hour who speaks only in conditionals. A city planner who has said inconsistent with neighborhood character 4 times in 20 minutes. And a woman from the West Side Preservation Coalition who has brought, you count, 11 binders. You thought development was about buildings. It is not about buildings. It is about this room. This politically loaded, fluorescent lit room where your perfect numbers mean absolutely nothing. What matters here is who knows whom, who owes whom, and whether the woman with 11 binders believes your parking structure will shadow the community garden 2 blocks east. She does. She commissioned a study. You commission your own. $28,000, 6 weeks. The results favor your project. At the next planning hearing, the city planner cites her study anyway. 8 months, 23 meetings. You learn the names of people's dogs. You learn which council member responds to emails before 7 a.m. You get the entitlements, but while you were sitting in that room, a 40-unit infill deal you'd been tracking on your own time quietly closed. Someone else bought it, someone who had time to move. You are gaining skills, you are losing windows. And somewhere in that trade, skills for windows, you made a choice you didn't know you were making. By level 4, you'll understand exactly what that choice cost you, and why Daniel, the managing partner, is going to show you a document that makes 8 years feel like a very expensive education in the wrong subject. Level 3, Senior Associate, age 31. $140,000. You can see the whole machine. You are managing the Denver project end to end now. Architects, engineers, general contractor, lender draw requests, construction timeline, every single moving part, yours. And this is where level 3 teaches you something level 2 couldn't. Execution is brutal in a way that entitlements never prepared you for. The GC calls you on a Monday, steel delivery, delayed 3 weeks. The framing subcontractor has a crew standing idle at $4,200 a day. The lender's construction monitor is asking for a revised schedule by Friday or they're flagging the draw. You have 72 hours to solve a problem that has 4 different causes and 9 different stakeholders. You solve it, not elegantly, but you solve it, and then it happens again. Different problem, same pressure, different stakeholders, same 72 hours. This is level 3's real curriculum, not project management, crisis management. The ability to hold the entire machine together when 3 things break at once and nobody is coming to help you. But here's what starts to bother you quietly. You pull up the firm's last closed deal, the one you ran from entitlement to certificate of occupancy, $47 million project, your work, your crisis management, your 72-hour solutions. You find the investor summary online. The GP promoted 30% above the hurdle. You do the math. Your bonus that year was $23,000. You do the math again. You sit with the number for a long time. Then you open the Nashville file, the one from level 1, the one that died because of a 12-foot utility easement, and you rebuild the pro forma, not for the firm, for yourself. You've been here 6 years, you've touched $340 million in project value, and your compensation, your real compensation including bonus, is $163,000. The structure is becoming visible, you can almost see it, but almost is not the same as seeing it. That answer is coming at level 4, and when it lands like cold water. Level 4, Vice President. Age 36, $240,000 plus carry. This is where the truth lives. It's a Thursday afternoon. You are sitting across from Daniel, the firm's managing partner, and for the first time in 8 years, he's showing you the full waterfall structure on a deal. Not the investor summary, the actual waterfall. The LP, the equity investor who wrote a $34 million check, gets their 8% preferred return first, their capital back second. Then, above the hurdle, a 70-30 split. 70% to them, 30% to the GP, the firm. And then, buried inside the GP's 30%, a promote structure, an additional carry layer, for the people who source the deal and control the capital relationships. Your name is not in it. Daniel is watching you read. You've been executing other people's deals for 8 years, he says, quietly, not unkindly. When are you going to bring one of your own? This is the mirror moment. You have spent 8 years becoming the most reliable executor in the building. You can run any deal, solve any crisis, manage any stakeholder. And none of it puts you in the promote. The people who own this business are not the best operators. They are the people who control deal flow and capital relationships. You have been building skills. They have been building leverage. You drive home. You sit in your car in the parking garage for 11 minutes without moving. Not because you're sad, not because you're angry, because you're doing arithmetic. 8 years, 9 closed deals, $340 million in project value touched. You think about the Analyst in Austin, rebuilding pro formas at 11 p.m. while the motion sensors clicked off. You think about the Nashville file, the utility easement, 3 months erased in one phone call. You think about the woman with 11 binders and the community garden 2 blocks east. You think about every 72-hour crisis you solved, every draw request, every steel delay. And you realize something that nobody in that building will ever say out loud. They didn't need you to understand the waterfall. They needed you to not understand it. The Charlotte lender is calling. Retrade on terms. Half a point higher. New completion guarantee. You let it go to voicemail. You sit in the dark a little longer. Because in 11 minutes, parked 3 floors underground, you just made the most important decision of your career. You just didn't know what to call it yet. If you've made it to level 4, you already know this channel is for you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next room.
Level 5, the owner-developer. Age 41, no salary, everything on the line. You're in a WeWork conference room you rented by the hour, $47. On the table, your first fund pitch deck, $75 million target. A PPM your attorney spent 6 weeks drafting. And a cold brew you bought downstairs because this meeting needed to feel like you belong here. Across from you, a family office out of Dallas. $2.1 billion under management. The man sitting across, grey suit, no tie, Patek Philippe hasn't glanced at once. His name is Robert. He has heard 34 pitches this quarter. You have 45 minutes. He asks 3 questions the entire meeting. Who's your GC? What's your basis on the land? Why hasn't anyone else moved on this? You answer all 3 without a note in front of you. Because you have been living inside this deal for 18 months. He closes his portfolio, stands up. We'll do 10, he says. $10 million, seed position. We'll talk after the first deal closes. He leaves. You sit alone in that $47 room. $10 million is not $75 million. It's enough, barely, with the right senior debt. It means 6 more months of calls to family offices and high net worth individuals to stack the rest. It means you are not sleeping through the night for the next 2 years. And yet, you open the deal file on your laptop, the site plan, the unit mix, the phasing schedule, and you feel something you haven't felt since that Tuesday night in Austin, when the lights turned off because you hadn't moved. Clarity. Not confidence, not certainty, clarity. You know exactly what this is. You know what it costs. You know what it breaks. And you are choosing it anyway. With full information, eyes completely open. That is the only difference between the people who build things and the people who execute for the people who build things. You still get the $12 sandwich sometimes. There's a bodega on Larimer Street in Denver, near the old entitlement site. $11.50, breakfast sandwich on a roll. You've been going there since the West Side project. You sit outside and you look at the building across the street. 6 stories, mixed use, 3 years old, and you see things now that you couldn't see at 22. The setback variance on the ground floor, the mechanical placement on the roofline that tells you someone fought the building department and lost. The retail bay that's been dark for 2 years because whoever underwrote it got the absorption wrong. You see the entire story of the deal, written in the architecture. That's what this career actually gives you. Not the buildings, the vision. The ability to look at any city and see it as a living record of decisions made under pressure, capital placed and lost, risks taken with incomplete information. The most powerful people in this world don't look powerful. They're just sitting somewhere, quietly, seeing what everyone else walks past.